Sabrine Navarro is our guest, and we want to say welcome. First of all, it's been a trip because you're at William Jewell College by way of Melbourne, Australia, and Chicago State. You want to tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, it was an extremely stressful journey to start off with. I kind of concocted this dream when I was in 10th grade, and it was with my coach. My coach back home, he had previously gone to college to play tennis, and he offered the idea to me, and it just sounded so great to play the sport that I love, as well as get an education, get my degree, preferably under a scholarship, so a lot cheaper for my parents. So once I got into 12th grade, I just got my paperwork together. It was really funny. The way I say it is I kind of Justin Bieber'd myself onto YouTube. The way I got into college, I kind of put a video of myself up on YouTube, and the next day I got offers from schools, from coaches, just telling me, we're going to offer you this. They're just trying to scout me out, and it was just amazing to see just the reaction in just one night, just to get all these responses from coaches. So then began the long process of getting my visa together, selecting a school by location, and if they had my major as well. Right. Really, the scholarship, even though it was kind of a priority to me, the tennis part, I knew that I was going there for tennis, so didn't really matter too much about the level of tennis. Any level of tennis outside of Australia is good enough for me. So once I got my visa in check, I chose a school, and the first school was Chicago State. So once I graduated high school in January, I went straight to Chicago State, took the flight over. I went from an extreme conditions of weather. I went from summer, which was like 90 to 100 degrees, to the dead cold of winter in Chicago, which is like minus 12. There was about 10 feet of snow piling up on the side of the roads, and it was something I was just not used to at all. But as soon as I got into Chicago State, I began my training, I began school, and it was just a journey that just an adventure that started for me.
How does Chicago compare to Melbourne?
Well, when I told my mom about my first time in Chicago, I see Chicago, it's an eccentric city, it's beautiful, it's big, and I said that Chicago makes downtown Melbourne look cute, because it's just such a big city. So Chicago, the hustle and bustle is a little different to the one in Melbourne. People in Melbourne, they say, are a little bit slower. In Chicago, it's a lot faster, and also the confusing thing is that roads in Chicago, downtown Chicago at least, are one way.
Right.
So it was just really hard to get used to, especially since they drive on the other side of the road to Australia. Really hard to get used to crossing the road, knowing that you only had to look one way and a certain way, whereas I was used to looking to my left or to my right, looking for cars. So that was something that was interesting. The people were also very nice, something that I didn't I guess I didn't expect. I didn't expect everybody to be so welcoming. And I guess that comes with the fact that I'm 18. I was 18 years old. Right. And I was just traveling alone for the first time without my family. So it was really surprising to have so many people so welcoming around me.
Well, now we've got one-way streets and Liberty around the square. Are they as challenging as downtown Chicago?
No. After 4 years, I've gotten used to it. I think I've got that. That's point.
I'm trying to make that a clever lead into how did you go from Chicago to Liberty?
So I was looking for a new school to transfer to, and I didn't Justin Bieber myself. Again, no, that only works once. But I sent a whole bunch of emails out to about 100 coaches in 1 week, because I was just really, really wanting to look for a new school, a new experience. And one of those emails that I got back was from Paul Worstel, head coach of William Jewell, and he just sold the school to me. He asked me about my experience. He said that I would play a role on this team that would be beneficial to the team, and I love that. I love playing a role in a team, especially not even if it's a leadership role, but if I do get a leadership role on the team, that's something that I'd love to do. And he presented that idea to me, and I loved it. And So I made the switch. I said, yeah, it's a done deal. Let's go to William Jewell.
What is your leadership, or what is your role this year as a senior?
Well, I mean, I kind of help out a little bit in terms. I'm not the captain, but I do help out the captains. I do help out the freshmen on the team. We've got 4 new freshmen and some other girls on the team who are not as senior as the other girls. So what my role is just to help those girls find their feet, make sure they're comfortable, make sure that, you know, if there's anything they're having trouble on court with, I'm going to help them, I'm going to talk to them, give them advice, you know, just calm them down, because a lot of the girls that we recruited last fall are international as well. So I know what they're going through, and they kind of turn to me, and I also help them out with the transition. Anything that they need. If they need to go to Walmart, I'll go with them. If they need help with school and, you know, understanding the grading system that's different from their country to this one, I'll help them out with that too. So, yeah.
How about on the court? How do you describe yourself as a player?
Okay, so I've said this before to some of my friends. I'm a little bit of a show pony.
Okay.
And not that I like to show off. It's more so that I like it to entertain. I'm a little eccentric, a little out there when I'm on the court. I'm not a quiet person. If I'm emotional that day, I make sure that the other people around me hear it. When I'm angry with myself, I show that. I show that on court, because I'm a very emotional person on court. I know I've been playing this sport for so long now that I know when I'm playing well and when I'm not. And when I'm not playing well, I know that I should be playing well. Mm-hmm. So I don't hide anything back, and it's just I wear my heart on the sleeve when I'm out on court. I'm a very hard-working player. I like to chase balls down. I like long points. I don't like short points. So when I go out there and someone's just bashing me around, hitting the lines, it's a frustrating time for me, because I want to go out there and I want to participate. Right. I want to compete, and so I don't like losing easy. At least I like to work my hardest and make sure that if I go down, I go down with a fight. Where
do you get that attitude? Where'd you learn that?
It's a mix from my family. My family has taught me a lot about, you know, not going into anything half-heartedly. They taught me that that close enough is not good enough. So I go in there and I finish things to my absolute best. Also, my coach has taught me a lot. Growing up, I've had him for about 5 years now, and he has taught me to improve myself every time I step on court, whether that's physically, mentally, or even just emotionally on court, just to keep my emotions sometimes contained, because I used to be a little bit of a brat on court. I used to throw my racket around, and
really?
I did, and it's not something I'm proud of, but it's something that I've worked on over the years. Another lesson that I've had to learn, and something that's matured as a part of my game. So my coach and my family have been extreme inspirations for me on the way I carry myself on court and the way I do things in life.
Tell us a little bit about your family. Let's start with your mom and dad.
Yep, my mom and my dad, very good, very, very supportive people. They've supported me to play tennis since I was 7. My dad was one of those parents that got up with me at 7 a.m. in the morning to travel on Saturdays. He'd watch my matches, and even though that we kind of have a little bit of frustrations between each other, because he knows what my best is as well. As much as I know my best, he knows it too, because he's been there for every practice, as well as my mom. My mom was more of a quieter supporter. She's the type of person that when I had a bad match, at the end of the match, I'd go back to her and she'll kind of cheer me up. So my dad's more of the discipliner. My mom's the more of the cheerleader of the team. She'll help me. She'll make me feel good about myself when I know that I didn't play so well. So she's the positive reinforcement that I need. My dad is, I wouldn't say the negative reinforcement, but he will be straight with me. He will be absolutely honest with the way I played, and that's something that I needed to learn and accept as a player, that nothing is a fairy tale in this life that if I played bad, he'll tell me, and if I needed to do better, he'll tell me what areas I needed to do better. The other person that's played a good inspiration in my life is my little sister. She's 9 years old. Her name is Taylor, and she's just a joy to be around. She's always happy. She's always wanting to just do things. Like if it's something crafty, or if it's something like she wants to say, she goes out and says, Sabrine, let's go play with a soccer ball, let's kick it around. She wants me to teach her how to play tennis one day, and which I think will be great. She's not a very sporty person, she's more creative, but she definitely inspires me to do better, because she's an extremely intelligent little girl, and it's something that I want to be as well. Like, I want to be intelligent so that I can help her grow up properly, help her learn from her mistakes, and eventually maybe play tennis with her one day. I don't expect her to be as a level as I am now, but I mean something that I can share with her, and it'll be perfect.
Sabrine, you go halfway across the world, literally, to play tennis. To wrap this up, why do you play tennis?
I play it because I love it. It's also something that has brought me so many experiences. Tennis has brought me all around the world, like you just said. I've come all the way around the world to play tennis and to get my education. I traveled all around Australia to play tournaments, and I've traveled to some other countries to play tennis as well. So from that, I've just gotten so many cultural experiences. I've made so many international friends, and it's really good to have those international friends, because the way I think of it is like I've got a place to stay in probably 15 different countries now, and it's just perfect. It's just great. The connections I've made, the lessons I've learned. Tennis is a sport that's I've learned is not just an individual sport. It's something that you need a good support network, and that's something that I've been very fortunate to have a good support network, to have so many cultural experiences, and that's why I love tennis. It's just an unbelievable sport.